Tell the viewers a little bit about you before we get into your story.
So my background, I served in the military. I started in the Navy. I switched over to the Coast Guard. I did a total of 20 years. And toward the end of that journey, I was getting into martial arts pretty heavily. At first, it was jujitsu, ground stuff, a lot of grappling. And I was having issues with my back from car wrecks when I was younger. So I pivoted and I got into more of a stand-up style. During a workout, just a sparring session, nothing aggressive.
Right.
I threw a kick that was a little bit aggressive, but the angle of it tore some cartilage on the inside of my hip. Over the years, I would get injections and I would try to go through physical therapy and try to work it out. And it was just a nagging thing. But then it started progressing and getting worse. And it got to the point where the friction points were so irritated that it started degrading. And they did a scope at first to try to clean it up, and it helped for about 6 months.
Right.
And it just started digressing even worse. They didn't want to do anything more than the scope because of my age. They wanted me to get closer to age 50 because they say after about 20 years, you may have to have it replaced again because it'll wear out.
Right.
It got to the point where it was a quality of life issue. I could barely walk. I couldn't do stuff with my family. I was avoiding social settings because I couldn't walk from here to there without significant pain. So the ortho said, well, let's go ahead and do it. I was, I guess, 46, 47 or so. So it was close enough. And at first it was going fine. I was home after the surgery for about a week. I was getting to where I could take a few steps without my walker. I was on the comeback. It was going pretty good. And then just sitting in bed one night, I got the worst pain I've ever felt in my life, really close to the surgical site. And my wife called the surgeon and he said, let's get him to the emergency room as soon as possible. But it was so severe, I couldn't even get myself up out of bed to get downstairs to the car. So he recommended calling an ambulance, and that's what they did. And ambulance ride, it was kind of late at night. It was pretty close to midnight. They couldn't take me to the surgical hospital where the surgery was done because they didn't have an emergency room. So
Right.
they had to take me to a hospital first to get me stabilized. And then from there, they transported me to the surgical hospital. That was an extra hour and a half that didn't really need to happen because of the amount of pain I was in. And it turned out it was a bleed. It was they don't know why it happened or what caused it. It just happened. And they did an emergency surgery in the middle of the night. And it was rough. I was in the hospital for, I don't know, maybe a week from that one. They sent me home. And at home, same thing, just sitting in bed watching TV, I felt a pop and a warm rush. And the spot where they had worked on it started leaking. And